Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Pillars to Success with Dr. Paul White. How are you doing today, Dr. White?
I'm great.
So today we are going to focus on the concept of leadership because it is so important when it comes to one's growth, involving things such as mentorship and other things that can help us evolve into the best versions of ourselves. So first and foremost, what qualities do you think a leader should possess?
Well, I think first and foremost, a leader has to be a good follower. At least a good leader generally starts out as a good follower. There's someone that can look at things in a very three-dimensional way, and with that three-dimensional outlook, they're able to basically put themselves in another person's shoes. And so generally they are a good follower before they become a good leader, in my opinion. But these are people also that are highly collaborative and individuals that are very engaging with others, are highly effective communicators, I would say, as well.
What things would you say set apart a leader from a follower?
So yeah, I think the big difference between a leader and follower is partly timing. And that's not to say that every follower is eventually going to become a leader, but many end up going on to become leaders. So I think timing's a big factor in that. And I said before, I think many individuals that start out as followers learn many, especially if they have an effective leader, if that's been modeled for them, having an effective leader, they end up developing and growing personally and professionally and becoming a great leader themselves, in my opinion.
Would you say that some people naturally possess leadership? Is this something you have to learn? Is this something you have to gain? Or is this something that kind of is naturally within you?
I think there are some individuals that may have a natural propensity for it, but I feel it's something that anybody can learn. I think anybody could, at least in my experience, learn how to become an effective leader. Some of the best leaders I've known are individuals that weren't necessarily maybe gifted with at being necessarily an effective communicator or overly engaging with individuals to begin with, but over time they picked up those skills, they learned those skills, and then with those skills and the ability to really connect with others and to really communicate, they became highly effective leaders.
Would you say you prefer more of the role of a leader, or do you prefer being more of a follower in terms of just natural?
I think it depends on the situation. There are some situations I feel very comfortable leading. Like in my position right now in my profession, I'm very comfortable leading because I have a lot of experience and I have a strong understanding of the tasks at hand. I feel that if I were to go take a dance class or maybe something else that's a little outside my wheelhouse, of course, in that situation, I probably wouldn't be a great leader. I'd want to learn. I'd want to be a follower. So I think it really is very situational. I think there are many situations in life where we could be in a leadership type position, and we might feel comfortable in a leadership type position. But other areas where we would probably feel more comfortable being a follower and learning and becoming more proficient at whatever that task may be.
What specific virtues would you say involve leadership?
I think that leaders possess a number of virtues, but I believe that the most effective leaders are what we would call servant leaders. Servant leaders are humble. They have empathy for others and for themselves. These are individuals that are very engaging and collaborative. They work with their team. They don't put themselves above other people on their team. They genuinely try to work and engage with their team members in whatever capacity, in whatever industry capacity that might be. And I think that's the important distinction, is that these individuals are kind. They're empathetic. They're engaging. They're generally very strong communicators. So these are all the types of virtues I think that would show someone, or at least would illustrate a person that is a strong leader, that's an effective leader.
Obviously, there's a lot of people that are introverts and there are a lot of people that are extroverts out there. Do you think a leader is better if they're more extroverted? Are you capable of being very good if you're introverted as a leader? What is your take on that?
I don't think it necessarily matters. I've seen highly effective leaders that are more introverted. I've seen some that are more extroverted. I think at any time, though, that you put yourself in that role, in a leadership type role, or that mantle has been placed on you, there is a tendency probably to become a little more extroverted. It's not to say that you can't, still have your introverted moments, but I think leaders generally, if they start out introverted, they do learn at least how to effectively communicate. And to be outgoing enough to where they can be engaging with others, with their followers. So I think that it's not a prerequisite to be extroverted, but I think that you probably do develop a certain amount of extroversion, as you start to progress and build yourself as a leader.
What do you admire the most about leadership?
I think some of the things I admire most about individuals that are effective or good leaders are probably the factor, the collaborative factor. So I think that the best leaders I've seen are individuals that are highly collaborative. These aren't individuals that make unilateral decisions necessarily. If they do make a decision, it's usually based on what many of their experts that they surround themselves with, many of the conclusions that these individuals have come up with. So, I think an effective leader, surrounds themselves with SMEs, subject matter experts, and they're good at asking questions. They're good at basically engaging with these individuals and running scenarios and looking at solutions. They're very solution oriented, and so I feel that these individuals then they kind of collect this data before they make a decision. And so, again, in my opinion, they're not necessarily making unilateral decisions. They're making a decision based on the consensus, many of the things that are going on within that group, within the experts and such that they surround themselves with.
Who are some of the people that you find to be the greatest leaders in your personal experience?
One of the leaders that I really admire, I've always admired, I actually read a biography about him some years ago, was Abraham Lincoln. And one of the things that struck me about Abraham Lincoln is that many of the qualities we talk about as a servant leader, he embodied. He was a highly compassionate individual. He was also very collaborative with his cabinet, and he surrounded himself with experts that gave him advice, and he would listen to that advice, and then he would use critical thinking to make a decision based on that advice. So that's someone in particular that I admire. I feel like he embodied many of those qualities of what we would consider a highly effective leader.
Thank you to everybody who watched this. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps the channel and it helps the algorithm to find this type of content. But as always, thank you for your time, Dr. White, and we're going to finish up with one final question, and that is going to be, if somebody was looking to improve their leadership skills and they're on a journey to wanting to become a leader at some point, what kind of advice would you give them? I
would say learn how to become a good follower to begin with. Learn how to take instruction, learn everything you possibly can, in whether this be a personal pursuit or if it be a professional one. Learn as much as you possibly can. Learn how to be a good follower, and then look at for examples of effective leaders. Look at embodying traits such as empathy and collaboration. And being able to communicate well, so these are things that you can do as you grow personally and professionally, and eventually, if you end up or you find yourself in a leadership position, you'll be better able to effectively lead. and to guide the individuals that that are following you, essentially.